All right, here's a 3D rendering of a map from Accordance's Atlas tool. This is from a sermon that I did last Sunday on 2 Kings 2. It's the exodus of Elijah out of the Promised Land. I want to point out some features on the map right now. First, you see that I have it set up for showing the divided kingdom. So up here, this kind of pink-orange color type thing is that's the northern kingdom of Israel. Down here, the blue, that's Judah. This purple line is my kind of projected route of Elijah and Elisha outside or out of the Promised Land. And that's what's called a user layer. When I do a review of the map in general, I'll show you how I did that. These smaller lines here are ancient highways that we know of. You can see that my route doesn't follow the ancient highways, although I could have done it. I'm just showing the direction going out. Let's fly through here. One of the interesting things to note in 2 Kings 2 is the kind of egress of Elijah out of the land follows a mirror path in a lot of ways of Joshua's early conquests into the land. He starts at Gilgal, which is a staging area for Joshua as he comes in the invasion. Although this Gilgal here, you can see there's a question mark, we don't really know where it is not the same one that you find in the early chapters of Joshua. There is more than one location of Gilgal in the Old Testament. And this one is probably somewhere between Bethel and Samaria. We're not entirely sure where. We do know why the one that's mentioned in Joshua is not the same one. And I'll explain that in a little bit. We'll see that from the features of the map. Let's fly through here quick. I'm going to start to Gilgal. We're going to go down to Bethel. Follow the curve. And off he goes. And you can see if he followed the highways, he would have gone deep into the Promised Land, or into the southern kingdom, on his way out to Jericho. And that's, could have been a route that he would have taken. I have him passing through Ai here because Bethel and Ai are conquered kind of in the same military campaign of Joshua in the book of Joshua. We're not sure if Ai was even populated at the time that this is going on. We do know that there was a population living there after the exile. I have to do more research on that. But we'll fly our way into Jericho. And that looks like it's a really far distance. But even if he follows the highway, it's only about 20 miles or so, which is rather interesting. At Jericho, he heads out to the Jordan, and then finally to the Transjordan, across the Jordan. And he could have followed the highway right out of Jericho and across the Jordan. And he's left the Promised Land. And up here you see a rather interesting feature as part of the text. When you buy the package bundle, you can get the photo guide and actually take images from the photo guide and paste them onto your user layers in the maps, which I find really good. And this is actually the Jordan River near the plain where Gilgal would have been, Joshua's Gilgal, that is. And you can see we have this grand picture of Elijah and Elisha kind of crossing this great river, the Mississippi, or even, good grief, even the Delaware by Philadelphia, which is small by comparison, when it kind of looks like the Wissahickon Creek. It's not even as wide as some of the smaller rivers that are around Philadelphia. And so that's what it would have looked like if that's all muddy. It's kind of gross. And I want to point out why Gilgal in 2 Kings is probably not the same one as Joshua. You can see the Gilgal there in 2 Kings. Right, this is the Gilgal from Joshua. And let's make that a little 3D-ish. You can see this Gilgal's down in a plain. There's mountains all over here. And one of the things that 2 Kings 2 says is that Elijah and Elisha go down from Gilgal into Bethel. And chances are, well, you can see on the map that if you're going to be at this Gilgal, which is down in a plain, if you're going to go to Bethel, you're going to go up. And so we know this is probably a different one than the ones mentioned in Joshua. But the parallels there aren't really kind of